Welcome to this presentation of the 2020 Historic Preservation Awards. I am Laura Luce, member of the Board of Directors and Chairman of the Awards Committee. Special thanks to our committee and to Art Miller, who provided the commentary to accompany the slides that follow. This year, the Preservation Foundation marks 3 decades of awards for outstanding preservation, rehabilitation, and restoration, following the Department of Interior standards, with awards also for infill, which is compatible new construction, and heritage, which is defined as paying forward significant historic properties. This year, we have made 2 awards for preservation, 4 for rehabilitation, and 1 each for restoration, infill, and heritage. While many of LFPF's awards are noteworthy, some stand out regionally, nationally, and even internationally. Among them are Stellar Structures by Howard Van Doren Shaw, David Adler, Harry T. Lindbergh, Delano and Aldrich, and Stanley D. Anderson. One such is the city-owned 1898 completed Ragdale at 1230 North Green Bay Road, awarded in 2012 for rehabilitation and published widely, most recently in the 2018 revised edition of Gardens of the Arts and Crafts Movement by Judith B. Tankard. Another of our awarded privately held residences for restoration in 2000 and located at 1301 Millwood Circle had then just been named one of the 30 most beautiful homes in private hands in the Chicago area by Chicago Magazine. Designed by Zimmerman, Sachs & Zimmerman and completed in 1932 in a modern style, the house has since been featured in several books and periodicals, perhaps most recently in the 2018 book, Art Deco Chicago, Designing Modern America, edited by Robert Brugman, and in the just published Modern in the Middle, Chicago Houses 1929 to 1975 by Susan S. Benjamin and Michelangelo Sabatini. Lake Forest, a leading suburb of Chicago for 160 years, has many hundreds of historic and architecturally significant residences and other buildings carefully maintained by our community. For this stewardship by many, the Preservation Foundation is grateful. Our awards over these 30 years have highlighted over 200 of the most outstanding for design quality and condition. In many years, the organization has also awarded nominated landscapes, gardens, and parks. Lake Forest, uniquely on Chicago's North Shore, protects the landscape context of its significant historic structures. The awards this year illustrate these characteristics. 255 Foster Place, the Award for Heritage. This heritage designation by LFPF recognizes this year the 1916 Howard Van Doren Shaw Entertainment Wing, added to the 1898 Lewis F. Swift Summer Place, designed by William Carbus Zimmerman and raised in the 1950s. The demolition of the main house and the adaptive reuse of the Shaw design wing was accomplished by local architect Stanley D. Anderson. You can see that the original house, the main house, is on the right and the entertainment wing on the left. The current owners, the second generation of second owners, have kept the house and 1950s reduced grounds in stable condition, paying forward one of the Green Bay Road Historic District's most illustrious Country Place era estate residences. Wilson Lodge, the award for infill. This new paddle hut by local architect Peter Whitmer is a compatible addition to the cluster of historic and new classicist Knollwood Club structures dating back to Howard Van Doren Shaw's original clubhouse and later locker room. The 1925 club has an 18-hole golf course, originally laid out by C.H. Allison and H.S. Colt, with its surrounding neighborhood by planner Edward H. Bennett. The neighborhood includes outstanding residences on over 2-acre plots by distinguished architects such as Zimmerman, Sachs & Zimmerman, and Walcott & Work, and landscape architects C.G. Wagstaff and Ralph R. Root. This new structure sympathetically adapts to the almost century-old heritage of this remarkable club and its distinguished enclave. 472 East Illinois Road, Award for Restoration. This residence dates from the early years of Lake Forest, built in the year following the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, and in the earlier 20th century, it was known as the Grosser Gun House. Queen Anne in style, with its tower and wraparound porch, it most likely reflects earlier waves of changes. Its present appearance, though, dates from earlier in the 20th century, with its facade protected by a previous owner with an easement granted by Landmarks, Illinois. When it suffered from a fire recently, it was restored by the current owners, though with upgraded materials, clapboard siding and copper gutters and downspouts. Its simple but dignified presence on its large lawn contributes significantly to the streetscape. There's a vintage picture, which you can see the clapboard is wider than the original. Or the 449 East Illinois Road, Award for Rehabilitation. This 1893 Queen Anne residence was built in the same period that architects Pond and Pond were building a new Lake Forest Academy campus nearby. Today, Lake Forest College South Campus. The 1893 East House/Moore Hall there, demolished around 2008, employed a firm characteristic diamond motif as found on the surviving windows at 449 East Illinois. The house is reported to have been built for interior designer William Quigley, renovated and expanded in the 1960s and 80s, like that. The current owners, working with Deegan Architects of Kenilworth in 2018, built a compatible replacement addition and new auxiliary building on the west side of the house while replicating older windows that face the street. 443 East Illinois Road, Award for Rehabilitation. This commodious 1875 Queen Anne home is reported to have been owned originally by attorney George Eddie Newcomb, 1864 to 1928, and his wife Blanche Makepeace Newcomb. It is reported to have stayed in this family for at least 2 generations, then being bought in the early 1950s by the Shields family, and then purchased in 2005 by the current owners, who undertook a major rehabilitation with architect Michael Bresman in 2018 to 19. This mansion-scaled house set back from Illinois on its deep lot remains, after many years, a prominent part of the Illinois Road streetscape. This third in a series of awards within a couple of blocks represents major reinvestments in this handsome, tree-lined, and park-like stretch of the original 1857 street plan near the town center. 1350 North Green Bay Road, Award for Rehabilitation. This year, most of the awarded properties, with the exception of the new paddle hut at the Knollwood Club, are over a century old. The handsome red brick traditional 2-story center hall home at 1350 North Green Bay Road, designed by Winnetka architect Ernst A. Benkert, dates only from 1953, less than 70 years ago. Its classic form, with a forward central symmetrical portion and 2 recessed wings, south and north, recalls homes of the country place era, 1893 to 1942. Such as the much larger red brick Center Hall Colonial at 1050 Walden Road, designed by Ralph Millman for Francis Bibler II in 1942. That late estate era masterpiece appears to be based on a floor plan published in Herman von Holst's 1913 Modern American Homes. But post-war inflation and even higher taxes in 1953 dictated the smaller example of the style. By the 1960s, the house's brick exterior was whitewashed or painted, then emphasizing its colonial federal character while disrupting its link to the local estate era. The current owner in 2009, with Moran Architects, undertook a major rehabilitation, including the return of the original brick's red color, typical of the period. At a moment when mid-century modern has captured the imagination of many homeowners, this example of mid-20th century continuity with the earlier estate era is worthy of serious attention, representative of the large local impulse that was expressed also in smaller classic designs by locals Jerome Cerny and Stanley D. Anderson. 90 Woodland Road, Award for Rehabilitation. One of the most charming of the smaller homes of the Shaw-designed Green Bay addition, now the West Park National Historic District, is this 2-story gambrel roofed house a few doors in from Green Bay Road on Woodland, facing West Park's tennis courts. This lot was purchased by C.B. Fitzgerald a local small businessman and member of the Young Men's Club formed in 1905. The 1906 plan by estate owners involved purchase of the east side of Green Bay Road, 1830s Atteridge Farm, to create a neighborhood for small local businessmen and their families with 5-year loans at no interest, the sale taking place in the summer of 1907. Fitzgerald acquired a pre-cut kit for his home, probably assembled by James Griffiths, a son-in-law of Farmer Atteridge, who lived 3 doors east. The house's Queen Anne intricate shingle work on the second-floor gable was a key feature of the rehabilitation, with the new addition and garage recently completed. 410 Woodland Road, Award for Preservation. This circa 1900 constructed house, its design, attributed to Frost and Granger, is notable for its distinctive roof design, bow windows, center hall facade, and front terrace. The roof plan's origins are described in a 2019 book on Frank Lloyd Wright's Penwern Cottage on Delavan Lake by Mark Hertzberg, with an introduction by Paul Crudy. This roof, like Penwern, employs Japanese Shinto temple flared and partially hipped roof features adopted from the 1893 World's Fair Chicago Japanese Pavilion. This roof pattern also is found on the 1903 Trowbridge House by Frost and Granger, 621 College Avenue, and on the 1916 Tea House for Nettie Fowler McCormick on East Illinois Road, expanded by Ike Coburn in 1958. This home of Rami Lopat and architect John Drummond was painstakingly rehabilitated by them with Ruggles architecture around the early 2000s, preserving the exterior of the house as they found it with the bow windows by Jerome Cerny and other changes by Ike Coburn. 830 North Green Bay Road, Award for Preservation. Few private preservation efforts have had more impact on whole neighborhoods than has the recent work to return this 1930 David Adler designed estate to its notable character of nearly a century ago. This over 4-acre site was the original 1830s old home place of the Atteridge Farm, left out of the farm's redevelopment plan by Shaw that created estates on the west side running down to the Skokie River, and West Park with its neighborhood of smaller homes on the east side. By the late 1920s, though, development was spreading on West Deer Path around the 1914 estate of Joseph and Jean Morton Cudahy, and they engaged David Adler a second time to create for them a new downsized Innisfail 2 across from West Park. By the way, this is a drone shot of the estate before preservation. The yellow limestone manor house and brick wall, both in the Normandy French manor house tradition, remained with the Cudahys until Mrs. Cudahy's death in 1953. It was then owned by another downsizer, Philip D. Armour III, who had sold Tangley Oaks in Lake Bluff. By 1970, it was the home of Barbara and W. Clement Stone Jr., who renovated the house with the assistance of Chicago decorator Richard Himmel. Among the many modifications made during his tenure were the replacement of the divided light windows on much of the ground floor. He also excavated the property to locate a very large swimming pool fit for Olympic diving. But his most notable alteration was to the south elevation of the main house, where he added a large stone and glass bay and moved the main entrance to the east courtyard from the south, adding a circular fountain and bayed entrance that exists today. After many years of neglect, the property was purchased by Chicago-based international architect Adrian Smith and his family, and has been restored by them as a studio, garden, pool house, and entertainment setting. The beautiful North Garden has been rediscovered, the work originally of Garden Club of America leader and president of the Morton Arboretum, Jean Morton Cudahy, with Ferruccio Vitale. The greenhouse and winter garden are whole once again. Flowers bloom on the parkway, and the very private estate once again presents a cheerful visage to West Park its neighbors, and to passersby. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all the winners.